This is Cruz for the Intense Apex Alpha Male blog, podcast, and website. And today is April the 1st, 2017, Saturday, April the 1st, 2017. And for today, I want to bring to you a new project that I'm working on. And it's a weekly rundown of the top news topics that have hit the news waves during the past week. So my goal is to bring you a synopsis or a review of the top stories of that particular week once a week. So for today, we'll be calling those the Watchmen reviews. So once again, the new podcast, it's titled The Watchmen News, Views, and Reviews segment of the IAAM podcast. And I'll be loading all of my sources underneath this video so that you can continue looking into the stories that I'll be covering here. I'd like to begin this segment with a reading from Hosea, from the Bible, Hosea, New King James Version, chapter 4, verse 6. And it says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. And I will also reject thee, and thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children." So basically what that verse of the Bible is saying is that as Christians and people who believe in God, we're supposed to constantly seek wisdom and knowledge. And with that wisdom and knowledge, impart it to others. When we fail to do that, or even seek God, your knowledge becomes what you call dumb knowledge. You can go to college and get your degrees and everything, but if you don't know the Lord, you have no wisdom. If you have no wisdom, that knowledge is worth nothing. And as you can see, we have a lot of people in positions of authority with degrees telling us that there's 31 different types of genders, when my eyes tell me there's only two, male and female. So when mankind goes off the deep end like that, you know that there's no wisdom there. So the Lord is telling us to seek Him for wisdom. We'll be able to discern with the knowledge we attain. That is the purpose of this new segment. So let's begin. This past week, Alex Jones he put up a video apologizing to James Alefantis from Comet Ping Pong. And he was apologizing for the Pizzagate scandal that has been permeating for the past 4 months since the WikiLeaks back in November. When that hit the internet and airwaves, a lot has been exposed. And we've come to realize, which a lot of intelligent people always knew, that there's a child trafficking pedophile ring going on in the highest positions of our country. And also, more recently, we've learned about the Project 7, which is the CIA and FBI spying on us through the computers, iPhones, smart TVs. As a matter of fact, Operation Crying Angel was specifically titled for the smart TV, where it's designed to spy on you even if it's off. If you have it off, it's still recording everything you do. So we're living in times where technology is a wonderful thing, absolutely, but at the same time it's being used against us, sort of like what George Orwell predicted with his book 1984. So that's what we're beginning to see. A lot of these things are coming out. So once again, Alex Jones went out and began to apologize for the Pizzagate scandal. And there were a lot of people who supported him on that and others who went against him. And I'll be putting those links underneath this video as well so that you can watch them and come to your own conclusion. The reason Alex Jones gave for giving up the apology is because they plan to go after the pedophile ring full force, but wants to distance themselves from theories, conspiracy theories. So many believe that the comet ping pong pedophile rink is a conspiracy theory, but the actual pedophilia rink situation is real. So they want to distance themselves from that. That's the reason he gave. I personally do not believe that. I do believe that comet ping pong and Pizzagate has something strange going on there, but only time will tell. But one of the things the WikiLeaks did expose is the big pedophile ring that's going on. And the thing we have to take away from that is, again, is in Scripture. It's in Mathew 18, verse 6, from the NIV version. And Jesus says, "If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it will be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." Now, when Jesus speaks, it's pregnant with meaning. And we're beginning to see that everything God is against, the devil is for. And again, that's where the pedophilia thing comes in. Children are the most innocent among us and the weakest among us. And God calls us to protect them. So we see that those people who are engaged in the pedophilia rink and doing things to little children are going to have a little hell to pay when they meet up with their Creator, if they do not repent and turn from what they're doing. That's just a fact. Hurting little children is not normal. Lusting and wanting to have sex with little children is not normal. You're sick and you need help. Okay? Paul Joseph Watson, and I'll put that link under the description of this video. He's declared war against the pedophile empire. And he's going to go full force in investigating what's going on. Again, that's one of the reasons why Alex Jones distanced himself from the comet ping pong conspiracy theory, as they call it. He's calling it that because it just so happens that they were tagged for this thing. So they believe. We really don't know. Again, time will tell. Now, James Alefantis is supposedly a very powerful person in Washington. We don't know in what capacity, but those people have a way of putting their criminals and giving them light sentences. Like, for example, recently we learned that a Republican politician was given 6 months in jail for having sex with children, and yet this woman who was smoking pot for her cancer got 30 years in prison. There we see the out-and-out hypocrisy with our judicial system. So we have to keep those things in prayer to prevent, so that the God can have mercy and do things that are correct, because we do have a lot of politicians that are corrupt. So we also learned about Mike Cernovich's 60 Minutes interview from last Sunday, which was, I'll tell you right now, last Sunday was March the 26th. So there was a really good news interview with Mike Cernovich from Danger and Play. They'll never have him on again because the goal there was to make him look stupid with the fake news narrative. Now, this fake news narrative exploded again this past election season. We found out that the media, the globalists, and both parties were against Donald Trump for president. And they were so vehemently against him that they trumped up, no pun intended, stories against him. Now, anyone with half a brain can understand that when these things begin to happen, they're in collusion with one another. And we begin to see the face of globalism. Now, for those of you who do not believe in globalism, globalism is prophesied in the book of Revelation. It inevitably and eventually will come to pass because it's prophesied to happen. Now, you don't have to fear because in the end, God wins. But that doesn't mean that we just sit idly by and allow evil to go full force. Globalism will take away our amendment rights, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. It'll just destroy that and we'll lose our freedoms. We'll basically be serfs to the masters. Okay, we'll be slaves to the masters. And the UN and many politicians in positions of authority want that. It's one of the reasons why they keep our borders open, because a country with borders is a sovereign country. In a globalist system, sovereignty does not exist. And when you study the Word of God, we begin to understand that that is how the Antichrist will gain control. Now, many people are foolishly thinking that Donald Trump may be the Antichrist. And I put up a video on that on my channel. And so that you can come to your own conclusions as you watch it. I don't think Donald Trump is the Antichrist. I do believe that many of his constituents are Antichrist, but they're not the Antichrist. At least not yet. They won't. The Antichrist will not reveal himself yet. But those speculations have been going on since that I can remember. Many people thought Obama was the Antichrist. Obama is Antichrist, but he is not the Antichrist. And you could tell by his actions that he is not anything Christian at all. And also in the news here, again, going back to Mike Cernovich, if you get a chance, check out that video with him. They won't have him back because he immediately destroyed the news with the accusations they were leveling at him as being fake news. The funny thing is that a lot of these news corporations are backed up by the big corporate world. They have a lot of money invested in them. And they got shown to be the suckers that they are. Because you have to understand, there are more people out here than there are of them. And now with technology, all you need is a smartphone to take a video on a specific situation that's going on, and bingo, now you're a citizen journalist. You're putting out their content. Content that they deliberately do not want you to see if it does not fit their narrative. And their narrative, once you turn on the idiot box, you begin to see it's an agenda on globalism, an agenda on homosexuality, an agenda on socialism, a pagan, heathenistic agenda that tosses God aside, an agenda that tells you all the stupid crap is good and all the good stuff is bad. So when you begin to see these things, you understand that their goal is to condition you. Now, for those of us who are older, with a brain, of course, is not going to work because we could see, especially if you're a Christian, you can discern. Their major market group are the kids between the ages of 15 to 30, I think 15 to 30, even though 30 years old is not a kid. But that's their age group they want to continually brainwash, and it starts in the school system. It's one of the reasons why at one time a kid would start at kindergarten or first grade. Now they have things like Head Start, because the goal is to get your child from a young age and condition them to believe a paradigm. And they become so attached to that paradigm as they grow up that thinking otherwise will be incredibly hard unless God's mercy is there to help them change. And believe me, I know what I'm talking about because I work in the school system and I see it in both students as well as faculty members. They're sold on a specific paradigm, and it's a paradigm that leads to destruction. It's a paradigm based on globalism. That's what they're teaching the kids. Why do you suppose Common Core is being pushed upon? And there's a financial incentive for you to push that garbage. And you have people in positions of authority in the education system telling you that that's a good teaching model. And And when they say that, I look at them like they're retarded. Because basically, they are. If you just have to look at the curriculum to understand that it's basically designed to dumb you down. One of the examples, especially in the math, they give a kid an example of 8 plus 5, which everyone knows equals 13. But the kid got it wrong because the teacher wanted to find out how you can get 10 out of that. For the past 5,000 years, 8 plus 5 is 13. Period. You don't have to figure out something that just doesn't function. And that's the thing. They want to sell you on this function. That's why the mainstream news took it very seriously when they were called fake news, because that's the paradigm they want to sell you on. The citizens, because of technology, can put up videos like this in a platform. So now we have choices. But keep in mind now that YouTube and Google are also banning a lot of Christian, conservative, libertarian videos from teaching us and showing us the truth. And a lot of these people are doing this like me, from their kitchen, from their garage, from their farms, okay? They're just going out and telling you what they see and what the truth is. You see? Whereas in the media, they get these high-paid actors to read a teleprompter. They're not journalists. And to sell you on some lies. And every so often, they'll give you some stupid, crappy local nonsense that's going on while the world is burning. Classic example of that is Aleppo. You go out in the street and ask anybody, what is Aleppo? And many of them don't even know what that is. Aleppo is a city in the northern part of Syria. For those who haven't noticed, Syria has been in a civil war. And the Obama administration has been arming these freedom fighters. And I use the quotations because these freedom fighters are nothing but terrorists, to try to overthrow the president of Syria, because that president is not going along with the globalist agenda. And usually that's what happened. Wars are contrived by the globalists. There's a lot of money in war. The bankers put a lot of money into that. And as long as it's going on, they're becoming richer and richer, because again, the goal is mass extinction and globalization. If you don't believe that, there's a place in Georgia called the Georgia Guidestones. And that is the heathens' 10 commandments. You read that and just look carefully at the things I'm describing to you, as well as many others on this topic, and you'll begin to see that slowly but surely is coming to pass. But again, we have a God in heaven that's slowing things down. And we saw it in two ways. We saw it in June the 23rd, 2016, when the Brits voted out the EU, the European Union, because the European Union threatened the sovereignty of England. If the EU would have been voted in, there would be no more England. No more. And they would have to go under a one currency system. And the citizens will have no votes at all. For example, if they voted in the EU, that's a one-shot deal. They don't get a do-over. So they knew this and voted them out. Until this day, they're still fighting that. So I hope and pray that the Europeans, specifically the people in England, continue to fight this, because it's an affront towards their sovereignty. Now, Europe, for the most part, is already lost. They have catered catered to the lowest common denominator and are crumbling slowly but surely. They're having a lot of problems, and they're a socialist system now. Our country here in the United States voted in Donald Trump to try to stave off globalism, which is what Hillary Clinton was 100% for. She was 100% for globalism, keeping the borders open, attacking our First, Second, Third, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment rights, the Constitution. She was a complete sellout. So we voted for the other guy, Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not a conservative by any means. He's actually a liberal. But he's also a conservative when it comes to fiscal policy, money, and running a business. That he's conservative. Only time will tell how he will perform. Now, I hear from both sides that he's not doing too well. But you also have to understand that both sides want to destroy him. First of all, the liberals are hell-bent on destroying him. You cannot get any logical argument or any positive critique about him from them. They've gone off the deep end with their little twat hats that they put on and march around with. So they're off the deep end. These are the same people telling us there are 31 different genders, okay? So they don't matter. The conservatives, on the other hand, people like Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, Michael Savage, Rush Limbaugh, and also guys like from Shield of the Sun, Michael Herr, and intelligent people like that, I would listen to them to see what they have to say, because you're going to get a good critique from them, which will help feed your wisdom and knowledge to come to a good conclusion. We need to carefully see what's going on. You cannot use emotion. Emotion is completely deceitful, so we can't do that. We need to use our heads. So getting back to Mike Cernovich, that was a situation there. Fake news versus real news. And getting back to the transgender topic, this week I learned that this guy who transgendered into a woman, which there's no such thing as that, he just became a eunuch with boobs, won a woman's weightlifting contest. Well, surprise, surprise, a guy winning a weightlifting contest against women. All right? First of all, this guy cut off his you-know-whats, right? His twig and berries. But he still has a higher testosterone level than these women. So obviously he's going to lift more. Men are naturally stronger than women in the sport of weightlifting and in physical strength. So it's no surprise. Now, why they allow this guy to compete there is because they're telling you, the media, society is telling you, no, he is a girl. Don't let your eyes deceive you. Do you understand what we're facing? It's like the classic story where the little boy tells the king he has no clothes. Everybody's playing along that the guy is dressed, but all you see is a naked king parading up and down. And it took a little child to look at him and he says, wait, he has no clothes. And that's what we were facing. Bruce Jenner is not a woman. He's a man who wants to be a woman, but it's impossible. It's like this cup over here wanting to be a dog. Okay? That's lunacy. And plus, they're entertaining a mental disorder. And those of you who are Christians and love God, to entertain a mental disorder means that you have no love in your heart for that person, because those people need help. Now, that doesn't mean we go and hurt their feelings or mess with them. We are to serve them and help them and care for them, and also tell them about the Word of God. Now, we're living in a society where there are laws that are being put against us towards that, and we're seeing it everywhere. So we must remain vigilant on that. And in another story, we see what's happening in Venezuela with socialism. The current president, first of all, Venezuela is going straight to hell, unfortunately, and we need to pray for them, because they're literally starving down there. If you look at the video, these are things the news, again, the fake news will not report to you, because they're selling you on socialism. They want you to believe that that's a good system, and it's not. It's not a good system. It's a system that literally goes in slowly into communism. The difference between communism and socialism is slowly injected into a society when governments begin to take over the private sector and create what's called crony capitalism, which is what's happening in the United States. Communism is thrusted upon a people by force. That's the difference between the two. That's the only thing, but they're both all in the same. So we're seeing that the new president of Venezuela is another idiot socialist. And the people, unfortunately, down there in third world countries, for the most part, do not have an understanding of anything other than what they've been shown. And their educational experiences or their IQ is not that high. Many of them don't read. Unfortunately, the internet is regulated down there as well. we're blessed because we have high-speed internet access here. They don't have that. They still have dial-up in some places. Can you believe that? Dial-up. Dial-up went out with about 15, almost 20 years ago. So all of these things are set in place to squash any type of intelligent thinking and, to see what's going on. Also, the last President Obama prevented people from Venezuela from coming here to the United States. But yet he opened up the borders to all the freakazoids from the Muslim countries. You try to figure that one out. I don't get it. Well, as I say this, the United States has become a very soft socialist country itself. And people ask me, really, how do you know that? Well, simple. We have a Federal Reserve banking system here in the United States. Any known system or society that has a federal banking system in place is a socialist country, give or take. And I say we are a soft socialist country because we still have some freedoms here, hopefully. But it's not that much. If you really think about it, right now the internet is acting like butt munch socialists because they want to prevent us from expressing our First Amendment rights. Now, here's a warning to Google and YouTube. You guys are not that big that you cannot fail. As I say this, there are guys, very intelligent guys, who are going to create YouTube-like platforms to beat the crap out of YouTube, and also Google-like platforms to beat the living hell out of Google. See, you guys do not learn. Mankind, when you back them up against a corner, they can either do one of two things. They can either keel over and die, or they can come at you full force and kick your ass. And we're seeing that they're coming at you full force and going to kick your ass. How do we know that? Well, again, we saw it in the past 4 months with them staving away globalism, the fake news narrative. See, people are fed up. You see? Also, when you start to attack our freedoms based on our 10th Amendment rights, normal people are going to fight back. Unfortunately, we have a bunch of mentally crippled people that are happily and willing to give up our 10th Amendment rights, the very freedoms that are given to them as well. You go figure that one out. I can't. So that's what we were seeing. Again, all of this ties in. The guy winning the women's weightlifting contest, the fake news narrative, all of these things, the Common Core, globalism, Satan is at work here. All of these things are culminating because he knows his time is up. It's almost up. And the interesting thing about all of this is that God does not operate on our timeline. His time is totally different than ours. Currently, we're in the year 2017. Who's to say God is in that same year? We don't know. God is much bigger than that. So, I'd like to leave you with, and also, before I leave you, you can check out the Dick Morris, a little report he gave. I uploaded that to my YouTube channel on how Trump destroyed Obamacare. Even though his bill did not pass, the current bill that's in place, he took the gas or the air out of it by destroying the individual mandate. Once you do that, the incentive is gone. Period. You're not forced to buy into a system pushed upon you by the government through the IRS system. So go check that out. And also, we have a video by Steve Posnick on Vault 7. Again, that's one of the WikiLeaks that is most recent, the Vault 7, which exposed over 8,000 pages of information telling us that the CIA and the FBI is spying on us. Now, they're going to sell it to you as it's to protect us. And what does Ben Franklin say about that? He said, those who would sacrifice their freedoms for security do not deserve freedoms nor security. So this is my wrap-up for the Intense Apex Alpha Male news, views, and reviews. And don't click away yet, because I'm going to include a video from this reporter from Brazil. And he's going to explain to you how his country became socialist. And please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please remember to subscribe. Until next time, I say God bless you all. And also, please forgive my birds that are chirping in the background. That's to show you that this is not fake news. This is real news, because I'm not even covering my birds as I give you this information. God bless you all.
Many American millennials seem to be drawn to socialism. They came out in big numbers for Bernie Sanders in the 2016 presidential primaries. They rail against capitalism on their college campuses. They wear Che Guevara t-shirts to signal their socialist virtue. I know a lot about socialism. I live in Rio de Janeiro, and I work throughout Brazil as a journalist for a popular magazine. In the early 2000s, Brazil's economy was growing rapidly. The government had enacted economic and monetary reforms and divested holdings in some state-run companies, giving the private sector more room to breathe. Inflation, a chronic problem in Brazil, was dramatically reduced. Foreign investors poured into the country, eager to catch a portion of our expanding economy. The future seemed promising. But today, our economy is in shambles, unemployment and debt are massive, and powerful politicians are being investigated for involvement in the largest scandals of fraud and corruption in the country's history. What happened? In 2002, a socialist politician named Lula da Silva ran for the presidency. He was a socialist, but painted himself as a modern, cool kind of socialist. He would be the politician who would heal national divisions and unite everyone. He even had a nickname, Lulinha Paz e Amor, which means Little Lula Peace and Love in Portuguese. But the old message about the need for income redistribution to decrease inequality was still there. The media, academic elite and celebrities assured Brazilians that by transferring the money from the rich to the poor could finally be richer. But the only ones who really got rich were Lula and his corporate and political friends. It only got worse under his successor, Dilma Rousseff. The socialists increased government spending, deficits, and debt. They called it a stimulus. They increased the minimum wage and the benefits of social programs. They call it social justice. They increased the salaries and retirement benefits of the civil service. They called it investing in the future. They handed out thousands of jobs in the government and state-owned companies as favors to their political allies. And they called it good governance. It worked for a while. Socialism always works at the beginning. But government spending just kept going up, and then Lula's socialist paradise fell apart and the economy fell with it. The outcome? From 2008 to 2015, government spending grew nearly 4 times as fast as tax revenue. The economy shrank 3.8% in 2015, the worst result in 25 years. That same year, a World Bank survey found Brazil's economy to be one of the world's worst. Out of 189 countries, we were the 16th hardest place to open a business, the 60th most difficult nation in which to register property, and the 12th most complex place to pay taxes. Economically and morally, the almost 15 years of socialist policies have greatly harmed Brazil. We also remain among the world's leaders in murder and robbery, and we rank near the bottom of industrialized nations in terms of education and healthcare. Americans take it for granted that they can be born into the lower class and reach the middle or even upper class. Many Brazilians take it for granted that they can't. But finally, some things are starting to change. There may be reason for hope. Today, more and more Brazilians see that capitalism and limited government are the only way forward. Thankfully for Brazil, Lula has been charged in several lawsuits for corruption, involvement in a criminal organization, influence peddling, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. Rousseff was impeached in 2016 for falsifying the government's finances and illegally using money from state-owned banks to run the government. This crisis prompted the new government to freeze federal spending, reduce the government's role in state-owned companies, and to encourage some of the massive federal workforce to resign. No one knows whether these basic measures will be enough to rescue Brazil economically. Truthfully, the damage has been so extensive it may take decades for the country to recover. But if we do, It won't be socialism that saves us. American millennials, take note. I am Felipe Moura Brasil for Prager University. Hi everyone, I am Felipe Moura Brasil, a journalist and columnist in Brazil. PragerU videos have made a deep impact on me and many Brazilians. If you have been impacted by these videos too, please consider making a donation to PragerU. Your support will help ensure that PragerU can keep these videos free and continue to make a difference. Please donate today. Ciao from Brazil.
What if you could carry a gun on you, so hidden, it was like the footsteps of a Navy SEAL? Millions of people are like you. They're not willing to be the victim of a bully, and they carry a gun to prove it. They don't want anyone to know it's there. They don't want it digging in their stomach or side all day. They don't want it to be complicated. They just want it to be on them and with immediate access in a dire situation. That's why we developed the Urban Carry. With thousands of reviews from people like you saying it is the only holster that is completely concealed, comfortable all day, and has an unparalleled pull-up draw, we're proud knowing millions of people are protected because of it. Still, at Urban Carry, we wanted it even better, so we focused here and listened. Then we developed the new G2, making the Urban Carry easier, faster, and more secure. The G2 uses a custom steel clip which passed the heavy pull test of a stressful situation, allowing the Urban Carry to now quickly secure your firearm on you with a belt or without. Simply clip, pull, and draw. The new design now channels your firearm directly to your hand, creating a smooth and rapid draw every time. With the G2, the leather is even more supple before leaving our facility, quickly form-fitting to a custom shape around your firearm. We also added a powerful magnet at the base to further bond the firearm to the holster while commanding a superior draw. Like many concealed holsters, the Urban Carry is not designed to work with tightly worn pants. Large baggy clothes are not required. Traditional pants, slacks, shorts, and jeans work best. The unique Urban Carry conceals the firearm below the waistline, allowing it to be comfortable while sitting as it flows with your body naturally. The draw is similar to any concealed holsters where you clear the shirt and draw the firearm. Whether your shirt is in or out, it is the same muscle memory to clear the shirt and draw the firearm. If a situation requires a one-handed draw, the firearm can easily be retrieved. The G2 is made for men and women of any size, right or left-handed, all while providing the exclusive benefits of total concealment, all-day comfort, and rapid drawing. You did not ask for this fight. In an unspeakable crisis forced on you and your family, you're empowered to be the first responder, and you can draw suddenly, knowing your firearm is reliably secure and always there for your protection. The Urban Carry is still proudly 100% made in America using premium saddle-grade leather, making it breathable and easy to wear while still maintaining a strong, lifelong durability. The G2 also has built-in ECR compatibility for any ECR-enabled lasers, so your laser turns on instantly when drawn and off automatically when holstered. The exclusive Urban Carry is the only holster that has an upward rapid draw, comfortable to wear all day while completely concealing your firearm. The new Urban Carry G2 is available now at urbancarryholsters.com.